Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, we're going to talk about the Iran-Israel war, which is apparently we got a ceasefire, but that ceasefire quickly fell apart. Reason being, there is a controversy over, okay, first, Trump just came up with the ceasefire. This is what the liberal media is saying. Trump just was looking at his poll numbers and said, oh, I need a ceasefire. So he just sat on, just came up with a ceasefire. I don't necessarily think that's how it went. Especially, Trump is speaking like Israel and Iran knew about the ceasefire. And we're going to take a look at the footage. But before we do that, though, I want to talk about the panicans and the people that are critical over Donald Trump, especially the MAGA faction, especially the Tucker Carlson faction, the anti-war faction, because honestly, they have very, very unrealistic expectations. Like, they are expecting the United States to just sit on a chair and do nothing in the world. I would love that to happen, believe it or not. But unfortunately, our government is not like that. The government will force whoever is in power, whoever is the commander-in-chief, to do whatever they're bidding. Although the commander-in-chief has some control. In fact, Donald Trump is going after Israel for their nonsensical retaliations against Iran. And he's calling them out on it. But for those of you who are skeptical, and including me, I also have a very long post we can read. I commented on Radical Politics, and Radical Politics is 100% correct. For those of you who are the Tucker Carlson factions, this isn't an indictment against you. I'm mainly going after these libertarians that are so-called right-wing. We love President Trump! And all that stuff, and then they go around and say, oh, I wish I never voted for Donald Trump. Well, tell you what, this would have happened under Kamala Harris. Because it's not Donald Trump making this decision. It's the government, the Pentagon, okay? And sure, Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief of the U.S. military, but he caves into pressure like every other president. So you take a look at this. My comment saying Rep is 100% correct with Trump and the Iran-Israel war. If there is disagreement on the strike, on that, that's fine. I necessarily don't think the strike was good. If I'm not necessarily a fan of it, but for those of you who think that Trump betrayed the base, and now he's a neocon, go take a walk. And we've seen this morning that he's not. We're going to take a look at some footage that will absolutely contradict that. MAGA is actually not anti-war. A lot of people think, oh, MAGA is anti-war. No, it's not. MAGA is peace through strength, okay? It's always been like that. And always people that go, oh, Donald Trump attacked Iran, that's so not like him. Really? Really? Donald Trump bombed Syria in 2017 for days. I was alive for that. I actually remember that. Donald Trump went after Iran. They killed a major leader in Iran, Qasem Soleimani, and people were fine with it. Now we look at this, we act like this is so not Donald Trump. What the heck? This is just infuriating. Like, you knew what you were getting. You knew very well what you were getting. And I'm not speaking to the channel as a whole. I'm talking to those so-called anti-war, and they are anti-war. I respect that. Now, I would say I'm anti-war. I'm common sense, okay? I'm common sense. I'm not anti-war. I'm not pro-war. I'm common sense. And in this case, I wouldn't say bomb Iran or go after Iran. I would like to know more. I would like to know Iran's intentions. If they are actually building a nuke, because you don't want to blow up the world. And people think this is going to start World War III. It's not, because Iran is weak. Iran's weak. Okay, now they're weaker than ever. So, obviously, I'm not a fan of it. America is tired of being mocked. Remember, we have been mocked for 4 years under Joe Biden. Did Biden keep Russia out of Ukraine? No. And he knows this. He knows that hurts him. Biden, specifically. So that's why him and the Democratic Party, they do their nonstop pro-Ukraine gaslighting. Because they know that they failed on the international stage to keep Russia out. We kept Russia out of everything except Ukraine. And now they're in Ukraine. But what we saw from Donald Trump is we didn't let Iran have anything. Now, did I think it was the right decision? I think he escalated it a little too far. But, we got to put context into this. We've been mocked for 4 years by our adversaries. Our adversaries have been taking advantage of us. And part of making America great again is undoing that 4-year reputation, okay, that Biden set for America. So the strikes, like it or not, it really helped establish to the world that America is not a pushover country anymore. It's not the country like it was under Biden. And we should be happy about that. And the fact is that when America tells you to stop, you stop. When you don't stop, you don't respect America. We don't expect our adversaries to. They hate America, especially Iran. So we obviously knew Iran was going to be resistant. But this honestly shows Russia and China, countries that are hate America, but they're not derangingly, terroristically anti-American. We shouldn't mess with America. This is what helps. And of course, Iran had many warnings. And of course, I don't think the strikes were necessary unless there is some detail I don't completely understand. We should remember that the Pentagon knows a lot more than what the public does. And the Pentagon's not going to release everything. Okay? And so, of course, I don't think so under Biden, we gave Russia a warning and we didn't follow up on it. So I told the anti-war libertarians, put their thumbs in your mouths and go sulk in a corner. You're not getting a world with no war. Stop fantasizing about it. It's real life. Wars have been fought since the Neo-Paleolithic era. Stop. I know they would love to have us be a Switzerland. I would love to be no, I'm not going to lie. I would love the United States to have those Swiss policies of neutrality in the world stage. But our government is so far gone when it comes to foreign policy. It doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democratic. It's neoconservative from the Cold War and onward. Democrats and Republicans have been putting on the war cap just as many times. So, obviously, I am very critical of Israel and their campaigns in Syria and Lebanon, especially Syria, because you take a look at Syria, what happened last year, in December, the regime of Assad collapsed, a different regime took over. I know this regime is not perfect. It isn't. It definitely has its downsides. This guy who leads it, allegedly, was from Guantanamo and supported 9/11. But we can go and sit here and say how bad the new leader of Syria is. I don't think he's a good guy. But the most important thing is he wants to work with us. And I think in order to establish peace, we got to work with people we don't like. So it doesn't make sense why Israel's still in Syria right now, blowing things up. It really doesn't. And obviously, Syria does not want a war. Syria wants to work with America. And Israel going into Syria to blow things up because they don't trust the leadership? No, Israel needs to leave Syria immediately. Israel needs to leave Lebanon because Lebanon and Syria are not anti-American states. They are pro-American. They have their disagreements, but they will sit down and work with us. We have a common enemy, Iran. And Israel's not realizing it, or they're just not cognitive to realize it enough, but they're actually undoing everything that we're trying to do. Like a David Hogg. This is like a David Hogg, Ken Martin DNC situation, which is quite disgusting. Like in 1973, after the Yom Kippur War, a new administration took over Egypt. Guess what happened? Egypt, Israel, America, they came together, and Egypt recognized the state of Israel. This can happen with Syria. Benjamin Netanyahu is pretty skeptical on this. I agree. We obviously see this. But seriously, he's not going to give people a chance. And at some moments I'm thinking like, yeah, Netanyahu needs to go. I'm like, seriously. You can't just keep going into country after country after country. What do you think he's going to go into next? Iraq? Yemen? Afghanistan? And he expects the Americans to help him go in there. No. So, yeah, I believe in telling hard truths. And I had many disagreements with the president on this. Like, I don't, unless there's some stuff that we didn't necessarily know that was much more at stake. I think this was more of, we should have, we blew up these nuclear sites. I agree. But now we're trying to make peace. And everyone was boo-hoo-whining and crying about World War III. And I'm saying that's unrealistic because, number one, World War III, which won't happen. Iran is weak. They're not going to go to Russia. Russia's made it clear Russia won't give Iran nukes. And guess what happened? Russia didn't give Iran nukes. We knew that wasn't going to happen. China wasn't going to give Iran nukes. Nobody wants to see Iran have nukes, even North Korea. So stop with this unrealistic war scenario or World War III. But, yes, America is peace through strength. We saw Iran disrespecting America. What were we going to do? Were we going to put up that Joe Biden mentality again that we've seen for 4 years? Was this what the Tucker Carlson faction of the MAGA faction wants America? I want America's peace through strength. And I don't support blowing up countries that mistreat us. You have to have tolerance and transparency in that. But when we give you a deadline, 60 days, and 60 days passes, do you think we're going to be like, oh well, we're not going to hold Iran. Iran just totally, did nothing. Let's just ignore it. No. Consequences, right? Iran made the choice. They made the wrong choice, and they have to observe the consequences of it. And now the consequence, I think, was a little too much. But obviously, it is what it is. Now, I want to talk about what the Panicans are saying. This is obviously Democrat psyop, okay? Democrats are using this to make Donald Trump a very bad, Donald Trump's starting wars. And Donald Trump did say he was going to be a peacemaking president, but to be honest, all these, are you saying that Woodrow Wilson, he said that too? Now, maybe Woodrow Wilson's a bad example. FDR, better example, did not want war. He was the peacekeeping president. What happened? We went to World War II because Japan mistreated us. People seem to think being a peacemaking president means just kicking up legs and let countries go and pee all over us. That's what people seem to think. And now we have Democrats boo-hoo-whining and crying. Donald Trump, they're crying, illegal war on Iran! And only the fact is that you have most presidents actually went to war, actually bombed more countries than what Trump did. Bill Clinton bombed Afghanistan and Sudan, not to mention Bosnia and Kosovo. Everyone was fine. George Bush bombed Iraq and Afghanistan. Everyone was fine. Barack Obama bombed Libya, Syria, Iraq, Somalia, Yemen, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. In fact, take a look at this. Oops. Let's go. I thought I saved it in this, but I took a screenshot. And you'll see Fox News did good reporting. Not good reporting today, but you'll see clearly being very slow that, look at this, 26,000 bombs. The world wasn't panicking. Everyone loved Obama during his tenure, 8 years. They weren't talking about the world blowing up. He bombed Syria 12,000 times. Iraq, 12,000 times. Afghanistan, 1,000 times. Libya, 496 times. Yemen, 35 times. Somalia, 14 times. And Pakistan, 3 times. And yet Obama's such a great president. Heck, Russia entered Ukraine under this clown through Crimea and Donbass. What a peaceful president. But yet the world wasn't panicking. Joe Biden bombed 3, actually. Iraq, Syria, and Somalia. The world wasn't panicking, but now Donald Trump goes after Iran. The whole world is panicking. Why? It's because, and it's not the whole world, it's Democrats. And maybe some libertarians and Republicans that just don't understand foreign policy and politics. That don't understand how the game is played. They think that this is basically a war. Going into a country, bombing is a war. No, it's not. Because bombing a country is just playing the game. And I don't support that. I don't think that's the answer. Bombing countries is not the answer. But that, unfortunately, is just how it's played. It's how the game is played. War! Well, I didn't see Syria, Iraq, Somalia, Yemen, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Libya go to war with Obama. And for those of you look at Iran and Syria, in which Donald Trump went after in his first term, Iran and Syria didn't go to war with Trump. They understand how the game is played. And of course, you know that it's a psyop, and it's being politically weaponized, because yet again, the left, the far left, has added another flag to their flag collection to rally around and storm the neighborhoods this weekend. The Iranian flag. Because every single month, they've been flying new flag after new flag after new flag. They flew the Ukrainian flag in March. They flew the Palestinian flag in April. They flew the said Mexican flag in May, and they flew the Iranian flag now in June. I'm surprised. We are so surprised it's not the pride flag for once. But honestly, I'd say, what flag will it be next month? It won't be the American flag. It won't, despite it being July, it will not be the American flag. They know how, of course, they know, we know how their game works. But now we have to observe Donald Trump, because Donald Trump's going to go nuclear on Israel, because Israel is not really interested in peace. And to be honest, I kind of knew they wouldn't, because this country, that honestly and rightfully so, retaliated on October 7th. They were attacked by Hamas through Gaza. They had a right, but then Hezbollah got involved. They felt inclined to go into Lebanon. Now, if I were Israel, I'd say that would be a bad move. You can't fight a two-front war. Two-front war is going to make things chaotic. But, they're not going after Lebanon. They're going after Hezbollah, and they joined the war. And I'm like, okay, that seems reasonable. Even though I personally would be like, okay, let's talk to Lebanon, because Lebanon is an ally. They want to work with us. Let's talk to Lebanon and have Lebanon and Israel work together to solve this. But no, Israel just went into Lebanon. And then they went into Syria for no reason. No reason, because Assad was gone. Hooray, I guess. But they went into Syria because they don't like the new leadership. Even though the new leadership wanted to work with us. And now they want to go into Iran. And we said, okay, Israel, time for a ceasefire. And Israel's saying no. And Donald Trump's just had enough. Absolutely enough. And he's going to go nuclear on Israel. You guys think he's a pro-Israel president? He is. But he will get mad at Israel. And this is probably the biggest one ever. And he honestly said he's more mad at Israel than Iran, because Iran has low expectations. Iran is an adversary. Iran is an enemy. So, and it's going to Iran's going to be more disrespectful. But Israel is our number one friend. We'd expect them to do what we say and advise. So, understandably, Donald Trump's going to be more mad at Israel. And I would be too. This is expected. And it proves that Israel just wants a war. Israel wants to start wars. And honestly, it's disgraceful. Let's go ahead and take a look at this video.
Just that the sides accuse each other for violating the ceasefire. So
I think they both violated it. I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all, and I'm going to see if I can stop it. So as soon as I get away from you, I'm going to see if I can stop it, okay?
How confident are you in the ceasefire agreement? Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Do you have a response from Iran?
too. I mean, like, seriously. Now, Fox News is actually going to go and spin around this story, and it's going to be very disgraceful. And they're going to go to Israel's defense. And I'm going to go and correct that. Let's go ahead and take a look here.
So the President of the United States, obviously really direct. He's disappointed that the ceasefire was breached. And it was, as far as I could tell, the ceasefire was breached by the Iranians. And what the Israel did was within their rights. They had 12 hours before it ended. They got some targets to finish up. So I think the president said in the spirit of ceasefire, he could have leveled off a little. But it doesn't seem like Israel actually violated the ceasefire. But Iran, they did. The IDF now will strike back, according to the defense minister, Israel Katz.
Well, I think. Okay, so honestly, I have a lot of disagreements with this. So, did Israel violate the ceasefire? Well, we don't know, because the question is, what was the ceasefire? What was the agreement between Netanyahu and Donald Trump? What did they talk about on the phone? And for this guy says, oh, well, they have 12 hours to blow things up and more, blah, 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 yeah. Well, that's not going to continue the ceasefire. That's just going to lead to the ceasefire falling apart, because it's about which country has the last laugh. Israel wants the last laugh, and Iran wants the last laugh. Whoever gets the last laugh before when the ceasefire starts, is the winner in their mind. So this is more about arrogance, an ego trip between these two countries. So when I'd say, yes, there's 12 hours, and we don't necessarily know what the phone call was like between Netanyahu and Donald Trump. Netanyahu says, oh, it never happened, really. I don't trust Netanyahu. I think we've seen this guy, and he's going around into these different countries. I think he wants this war to continue. And we know his ambitions. We know he wants to kill the Ayatollah. We know he wants to take out the regime. He wants a regime change war. And what it's looking like right now, we're not getting it. That's good. I don't want a regime change war. Regime change war would hurt Donald Trump, and it would hurt America. Now, if Iran did something to us in a way Pearl Harbor type, where public opinion is rallying behind the president and begging for a response, then sure. But right now, this isn't worthy of a regime change war. Okay? You got to look at what happened with Libya. Gaddafi was bad, okay? But people didn't think we had to go in there and overthrow him. Same deal with Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein did so much bad stuff. He took American kids from their parents and held them in hostage and put them on TV. I mean, Iraqi TV. Now neocons like John Bolton would say, oh, we gotta go in there and save the kids! Yeah, well, then he'd try to argue a regime change war in order to do that. I'm like, that's not, like, no, we go in there, maybe get some drones or something like that. And something like that. But we're going to have to obviously see. But what Fox News is saying is silly. Like, absolutely silly. Because, yeah, I disagree. Because Israel has a right. Well, how do you know? Like, no. What about Iran violated the ceasefire? Well, to be honest, being transparent, Iran has a right to respond to respond too. They're a part of the ceasefire deal. And as far as I know, both countries have a right to wrap up in 12 hours, none of them wants to stop because the countries want the last laugh. And here we go again. I like Fox News. I respect Fox News. But what they said, like, okay, they're just on the side of Israel. They're on Israel's defense right now. I'm like, no. No, these neocons, like, no. Being pro-Israel doesn't mean you can never criticize Israel for anything. And I'm criticizing them. I'm telling them, leave Lebanon, leave Syria. Gaza, do what you have to do. It should have stayed in Gaza. And I think they need to end the Gaza war right now, too. And I still hold clear to my position and acts like, hey, look, really, you guys have to really focus on Iran. And so you guys have to focus on, first off, when you go into Iran, the picture is, yes, you would stop the Houthis in Yemen. And I kind of still think eventually we're going to have to go into Yemen. It's about when. We're about to go into Iran, and it's about when. And I'm saying that doesn't mean I'm pro-Iran war. And I'm definitely not pro-Iran war. It's about, I think it's just inevitable. It's about when. This government's not going to tolerate Iran lasting on this planet for much longer. So it's not about if, it's about when. And we've seen right now and we've learned what we got from this is it's not time yet. And Netanyahu is mad. The son of the Shah of Iran's mad. They want the U.S. to go into go into Iran, and it's not time yet. It's not time yet. We need, and obviously they're weak, and you would think, well, now's the chance to go in. Well, you have a chance to do anything. Now's the chance for anything. But it's about, let's see, wait and see, because maybe with the weak regime, we have the opposition. If the opposition, we've seen the opposition in 22 and the riots, let's see if it starts up again. Let's see if they go out, and if it turns into a militia group, then great, amazing, but should we be a part of it? Should we be a part of it? And eventually, honestly, I think we will be a part of it. It's about the government, because obviously the government will force Trump to do it. And we've seen right away that it doesn't really matter which president's in charge. If this was Kamala Harris, this would have happened regardless. It's about the government. It's about the Pentagon. It's about the system. I don't like how it is. Looking at Donald Trump's approval rating, it hasn't really affected that much. It actually rebounded in couple polling. From Insider Advantage gave him 10 points, Trafalgar, and understandably, you got some negative polls, because now you got Trump voters that are angry that Trump did this. And I honestly am surprised. I thought it would be even lower, like in the -8 in the average, or -10. I thought maybe Donald Trump would be over. But he's actually staying steady. And understandably, countries back down in the single digits. Understandably, a lot of people were afraid of a world war. That's the funny thing. A lot of people were afraid of a war. A lot of people were afraid of Iran. There was a lot of uncertainty. But I think it's going to go up again. And the funniest thing is, the thing that matters most here right now, you're seeing a president lead through peace and strength. You're not seeing a George Bush. A George Bush would have won to Iran, period. A Nikki Haley would have done what win to Iran. Donald Trump is telling Netanyahu to back down. He's allegedly doing it. I don't trust him. But a George Bush, a Liz Cheney,
with apartments
oh my gosh,
capturing the hearts of hundreds.
Oh, okay, that was a commercial. But a Liz Cheney, a John Bolton, a Lindsey Graham would have done that. And obviously, he didn't. And I think that's 100% respectable. So, anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below in the comments, and as always, see you all in the next political episode.